Earth's first interstellar crisis. The message arrived during the graveyard shift at Orbital Station Sentinel-9. Night Supervisor Olivia Jackson was reviewing sensor logs when an alert flashed across her console, pulsing with unusual urgency. The Deep Space Array had detected something extraordinary, a signal pattern unlike anything in Earth's extensive databases. "Control, this is Jackson at Sentinel-9, she reported, her voice betraying none of the adrenaline suddenly coursing through her system. "I'm registering an artificial transmission from the Cygnus sector. Pattern suggests intelligent origin, definitely not natural phenomena." Within hours, the station's observation deck transformed into a crisis center. Director Marcus Huang of the Global Space Initiative stood silently as technicians and analysts rushed between workstations. The atmosphere crackled with tension and possibility, humanity's first clear contact from beyond the solar system. Professor Nadia Volkov, Earth's foremost expert in xenolinguistics, hunched over the primary console, her weathered fingers dancing across holographic symbols. After 26 hours without sleep, her eyes burned, but excitement overshadowed exhaustion. "It's structured," she announced, pushing back gray-streaked hair. "Definitely a communication attempt. The mathematical sequences are elegant, a language built on prime numbers and quantum states." General Tomas Reyes of the United Earth Defense Force remained skeptical, arms crossed over his broad chest. At 63, he'd seen enough false alarms to maintain healthy doubt. "Can you determine intent, Professor, friend or foe?" Volkov shook her head. "Mathematics is universal, but meaning requires context. Give me time." 5 days passed in a blur of activity. Scientists worldwide contributed to the decryption effort, while military commanders quietly placed their forces on alert. When Volkov finally called for an emergency briefing, the room filled beyond capacity. "It's a distress call," she announced without preamble. The holographic display behind her showed complex, shifting patterns. "From a species calling themselves the Zephyrians, they're being systematically exterminated by something they call the Null Harvesters." The silence that followed felt physical, pressing against everyone present. "The Deathworlders' decision." Director Huang broke the silence first. "Location timeframe." A star map materialized, highlighting a region approximately 8 weeks' travel from Earth, even with the newest fusion drives. "The signal is already 3 weeks old," Volkov continued. "According to their transmission, they're losing planetary systems daily." Captain Jamal Khatri, commander of Earth's newest battlecruiser, the UES Thunderbolt, leaned forward. "With respect, sir, we need to respond." General Leon Okafor from the African Union Space Command disagreed. "These aliens have never made contact before. Most galactic species avoid us entirely. Why risk our ships and people for strangers?" He wasn't wrong. In the decades since humanity's first tentative steps beyond the solar system, they'd encountered scattered alien civilizations, all of which maintained careful distance. Earth's high gravity, intense radiation, and extreme climate had produced humans that other species found disturbing. In galactic terms, Earth was classified as a death world, and its inhabitants viewed with a mixture of fear and trepidation. Captain Khatri's dark eyes narrowed. "Because that's who we are, we don't ignore calls for help regardless of who's asking." The debate raged for hours. Political representatives argued about exposing Earth's true military capabilities. For years, humanity had allowed the galaxy to believe they were less advanced than they truly were. The Deathworlder label had provided a useful shield during their rapid technological expansion. Finally, Director Huang raised his hand, silencing the room. "I've heard enough to make my decision." He turned to General Reyes. "Prepare a response fleet, all ships, full combat configuration." The room erupted in noise, but Reyes merely nodded and departed to execute the order. 3 days later, Captain Khatri stood on the bridge of the Thunderbolt, watching as 30 major warships and over 100 support vessels moved into formation. It represented the largest military force humanity had ever assembled. "All ships report ready, Captain," said his first officer, Commander Olivia Decker. Khatri took a deep breath, considering the significance of the moment. A peaceful species facing extinction. Earth stepping onto the galactic stage as a major power for the first time. "Send a message to the Zephyrians," he ordered. "Tell them help is coming." He paused, a slight smile touching his lips. "Tell them the Deathworlders are on their way." As one, the fleet vanished into fold space, leaving only stars where they had been. Humanity was going to war. Arsenal of Earth. The massive shipyards orbiting Mars erupted with unprecedented activity. Maintenance drones swarmed like insects around dormant warships while engineers worked around the clock, their faces illuminated by welding sparks as they prepared the second wave of humanity's response. Captain Lyra Navarro stood on the observation deck of her heavy cruiser, the Defiant. At 45, she had spent her career commanding diplomatic missions and scientific expeditions. Never anything like this. "Impressive, isn't she?" came a voice from behind. Navarro turned to see Joshua Kim, her chief engineer, a compact man with perpetually oil-stained hands and knowing eyes. "The old girl's been upgraded with every weapons system in our arsenal," he continued with professional pride. "Those null harvesters won't know what hit them." Navarro nodded, though uncertainty churned beneath her composed exterior. "Let's hope it's enough. Reports indicate the harvesters have already destroyed 4 Zephyrian worlds." Later that day, Navarro assembled her command crew in the briefing room. Tactical officer Diana Wright had served with her for 8 years, reserved but lethal in combat simulations. Beside her sat Dr. Vikram Patel, brought aboard specifically for this mission to analyze both civilizations they were about to encounter. "The Russian Federation is contributing 7 stealth destroyers," Navarro explained, indicating the fleet display. "Chinese megacarriers will launch our fighter wings, and Indian medical ships will handle casualties and evacuation operations." "Weapons configuration?" Wright inquired, professional as always. Navarro activated a holographic schematic. Standard energy cannons, but also something new: gravity bombs, originally designed for asteroid mining, now repurposed for combat. Dr. Patel raised his hand. "Captain, what do we know about the Zephyrians?" "Not much. Peaceful species, advanced sciences, minimal military infrastructure." "Zandi's enemy." Navarro frowned. "Only what was in the distress call. They stripped planets of all resources, including the inhabitants." The crew fell silent, contemplating the implications. The gathering storm. 2 days later, the UES Dauntless, Earth's most advanced command ship, took position at Jupiter's Lagrange point, the gathering place for the second wave of Earth's armada. From the Defiance Bridge, Navarro watched as vessels arrived hourly. Sleek destroyers, bulky carriers, medical ships painted white with red crosses, and supply ships loaded with everything needed for extended warfare. "Never thought I'd see anything like this," whispered Communications Officer Priya Singh, a recent academy graduate still adjusting to deep space deployment. Navarro nodded, her expression solemn. "Let's hope the galaxy is ready to see what humans can really do when provoked." On the 5th day, Navarro was summoned to the Dauntless for final briefing. She joined 20 other captains in a secure room where Admiral Winston Chen, overall commander of the second wave, waited with holographic displays active. "You've all studied the mission parameters," Chen began without preamble. "The Zephyrians stand at the brink of extinction. We have one chance to save them." He activated a 3-dimensional star map showing their planned route. "We'll employ the new fold drive technology, 3 weeks in fold space, then emerge here at the edge of Zephyrian territory." A science officer stepped forward. "We've established limited communication with Zephyrian leadership in hiding. They expressed surprise that humans would come to their aid." Someone laughed softly. "Bet they never thought they'd be happy to see Deathworlders." Chen silenced them with a glance. "This mission extends beyond saving the Zephyrians. It's about showing the galaxy who humanity truly is when pushed to act." Returning to the Defiant, Navarro addressed her crew over the shipwide system. "In 6 hours, we depart on humanity's most significant mission. The Zephyrians have asked for help and we will answer. Remember your training, remember why we fight." As the departure hour approached, Navarro stood on her bridge, watching status lights turn green across all systems. "All systems ready, Captain," reported Wright from Tactical. Navarro drew a deep breath, centering herself. "Signal the Dauntless, the Defiant stands ready." Similar reports echoed across the vast armada as humanity's second fleet, 200 ships strong, prepared to join the fight. "For Earth," Navarro whispered, "for all of us." The order came, and as one the fleet vanished into fold space, leaving only stars in their wake. Humanity had committed itself fully to interstellar conflict, and the galaxy would never view Earth the same way again. Humanity unleashed. Nightmare in fold space. Fold space was simultaneously beautiful and terrifying. Outside the viewports of the UES Defiant, reality twisted into impossible colors and patterns that defied human comprehension. Captain Lyra Navarro had made dozens of short jumps before, but never a sustained journey like this, 3 weeks in the folded dimensions between stars. Status report, she called, maintaining her composed demeanor despite the unsettling sensation fold space always induced. All systems nominal, Captain, responded Diana right from the tactical station. Fleet integrity at 97%. 4 supply ships reported minor fold drive fluctuations but have stabilized. Navarro nodded appreciatively. 200 ships moving together through fold space was unprecedented. The fact that they'd only experienced minor issues was a testament to human engineering and training. And our ETA. 16 days, 7 hours to Zephyrian space, assuming no course adjustments. Navarro rose from her command chair. Maintain course, I'll be in the strategy room. The strategy room had been converted into a war planning center. Maps of known Zephyrian space covered the walls, though most were incomplete. The latest distress signals painted a grim picture of systematic extinction. Dr. Vikram Patel looked up as Navarro entered. Captain, I've been studying the biological data the Zephyrians transmitted. They're truly fascinating. Tell me something tactical, Doctor, Navarro said, not unkindly. Patel projected a hologram of a tall, willowy being with translucent skin that emitted a soft blue luminescence. The Zephyrians evolved on a low-gravity moon orbiting a gas giant. Their bodies produce bioluminescence, hence their name. They're physically fragile by our standards, but their scientific achievements are remarkable. Zandi's enemy. Patel's expression darkened. The null harvesters appear to be multiple species operating as a collective consciousness. The Zephyrians describe them as consumers of worlds. They strip planets of resources and biological material. The implication was clear: they weren't just conquering, they were consuming. Battle preparations. In the days that followed, the fleet settled into routine. Combat drills ran continuously. Engineers fine-tuned weapon systems. Medical teams prepared for casualties. Captain Navarro spent her evenings reading intelligence reports and her nights trying to sleep despite the strange dreams fold space induced. On the 11th day, she visited the ship's mess hall, surprising off-duty crew members. Captain on deck, someone called. At ease, Navarro said, grabbing a tray. I need coffee like everyone else. She sat with a group of young officers who nervously made room. Tell me, she said, stirring her coffee, what do you think about this mission? Lieutenant Rafael Ortega spoke first. The galaxy has always seen us as dangerous, Captain. The gravity of our world, the radiation, the predators we evolved alongside, they made us stronger than most species. Communications Officer Singh nodded. My grandmother was part of First Contact. She said the aliens looked at humans like we were monsters, barely containing their fear. Navarro listened as they talked. The crew understood what was at stake, not just the survival of the Zephyrians, but humanity's place in the galactic community. On the 17th day, a scout ship detected debris at the edge of their sensor range. Analysis, Navarro asked as images appeared on her screen. Zephyrian design, Captain, said Wright grimly. Destroyed approximately 10 days ago. The null harvesters are expanding their territory faster than projected. Navarro activated the shipwide communication system. This is Captain Navarro to all hands. We've found evidence of Zephyrian ships destroyed by the enemy. We're approaching the combat zone. Stay alert, stay ready. That evening, Admiral Chen called a virtual meeting of all ship captains. The latest message from the Zephyrians indicates the null harvesters have taken 5 more systems, he said, his face grim on the screen. Our arrival is now critical. We'll be emerging into an active war zone. All ships are to remain at combat readiness from this point forward. As the meeting ended, Navarro stood at her viewport, staring into the twisted reality of fold space. Soon they would emerge into normal space, and humanity would reveal its true strength to the galaxy for better or worse. First contact, first blood. The fleet erupted back into normal space at the edge of Zephyrian territory. Alarms blared across the Defiant as sensors came online. Report, Navarro commanded, gripping her chair as the ship stabilized. Multiple contacts, Captain, Wright announced, fingers flying across her console. Debris field ahead appears to be a recent battle site. Navarro stood staring at the view screen. The blackness of space was littered with shattered metal and frozen gases, the remains of ships destroyed in combat. Life signs. Dr. Patel bent over his scanner. Faint readings, one Zephyrian vessel still intact but heavily damaged, approximately 15 survivors. Navarro didn't hesitate. Notify Admiral Chen we're moving to assist. She turned to Singh. Send a message in the Zephyrian language. We are humans from Earth responding to your distress call. We're here to help. The Defiant broke formation, accelerating toward the damaged ship. As they drew closer, the extent of destruction became clearer, huge sections torn away, scorch marks from energy weapons. Prepare rescue teams, Navarro ordered. Dr. Patel, accompany them, they'll need your expertise. Within 30 minutes, the survivors were brought aboard. The Zephyrians matched Patel's description, tall, slender beings with skin that glowed with soft blue light, though these were injured, their luminescence flickering weakly. One Zephyrian moved forward with obvious pain, activating a translator device. You are humans from Earth. Navarro nodded. I'm Captain Lyra Navarro of the Earthship Defiant. We received your distress call. The Zephyrians' light pulsed in what Navarro interpreted as surprise. The Deathworlders came to help, we did not expect. We don't abandon those who need help, Navarro said simply. What happened here? The Zephyrian, who identified himself as Alien, explained as medical teams treated the others. This was a refugee transport. The Null Harvesters attacked without warning 2 days ago. Our defense fleet was destroyed weeks ago. We are losing everything. Meanwhile, Dr. Patel examined, recovered Null Harvester technology from the debris field. This is troubling, he told Navarro in her ready room. Their weapons aren't designed just to destroy but to capture. They're collecting biological material. For what purpose, Navarro asked. Unknown, but the Zephyrians believe the Harvesters consume other species to evolve their own capabilities. The human fleet maintained position as more Zephyrian survivors were located and rescued. Admiral Chen arrived on the Defiant for a strategy session. The situation is worse than we anticipated, he said gravely. The Null Harvesters have already taken 22 Zephyrian systems. The remaining leadership is in hiding on their ancestral moon. Navarro studied the star map. We need to push deeper into Zephyrian space, establish contact with their government. Chen nodded, agreed, but proceed with caution. Our scout ships detected Harvester vessels at these coordinates. They don't know we're here yet, but that advantage won't last. The Deathworlders strike. 3 days later, the fleet moved in formation toward the Zephyrian homeworld. Navarro stood on her bridge, watching as stars streaked past the viewports. Multiple contacts at extreme range, Wright suddenly called out. Configuration matches Null Harvester scouts. Navarro straightened. Battle stations, all hands prepare for combat, notify Admiral Chen. The alarm echoed through the ship as crew members raced to their positions. On the view screen, 5 alien vessels changed course, accelerating toward the human fleet. They've spotted us, Navarro said calmly. Time to show them what Deathworlders can do. She pressed her comm button. All weapon stations, prepare to fire on my mark. The Null Harvester ships grew larger on the screen, strange, organic-looking vessels bristling with weapons. Humanity was about to enter its first interstellar war. For Earth, Navarro whispered, for the Zephyrians, fire. The Defiant shuddered as enemy fire slammed into its shields. Captain Navarro gripped her command chair, eyes fixed on the tactical display. The 5 Harvester scout ships had quickly multiplied to 15 as reinforcements arrived. Shields at 78%, Wright reported. Enemy vessels displaying unusual attack patterns. They seem confused by our tactics. Navarro allowed herself a small smile. They've never fought humans before, keep pressing the advantage. The Null Harvesters had expected an easy victory against the newcomers. Instead, they found themselves facing ships that moved with unpredictable patterns, weapons that hit harder than expected, and an enemy that seemed to anticipate their every move. They're breaking formation, Wright announced. 3 ships attempting to retreat. Don't let them escape, Navarro ordered. If they report back what they've seen, we lose our advantage of surprise. Human vessels swarmed the fleeing enemy ships. The battle ended in 45 minutes, all 15 Null Harvester ships destroyed or disabled. No casualties reported fleet-wide, Singh announced with barely contained excitement. Minor damage to 5 destroyers. Admiral Chen requests all captains for debriefing. In the aftermath, Navarro joined the other captains on the Dauntless. The mood was cautiously optimistic. They underestimated us, Chen said, packing before the assembled officers. But that won't happen again. Our next engagement will be much harder. We recovered something interesting, Navarro added. Data from a disabled enemy ship shows they were transmitting our fleet composition back to their command. They seem particularly interested in our biology. Dr. Patel, who had joined the meeting, nodded. The Zephyrians say the Null Harvesters adapt by consuming other species. They're likely trying to understand what makes humans different. Let's show them, said Admiral Chen with grim determination. 5 days later, the fleet reached a Zephyrian moon occupied by the Null Harvesters. Long-range scans revealed a processing facility with Zephyrian prisoners. We need to hit that facility, Chen told Navarro. Your ship has our best special forces unit. Can they handle it? Navarro nodded. Major Vassiliev has been training for precisely this scenario. His team is ready. The plan was simple but dangerous. While the fleet engaged Harvester ships in orbit, the Defiant would slip through, deploying special forces to free the prisoners. The battle began at dawn. Human ships burst into the system, weapons blazing. This time the Null Harvesters were better prepared. Their ships immediately formed a defensive pattern around the moon. They're learning, Navarro muttered as the Defiant dove toward a gap in the enemy formation. Evasive maneuvers, get us through that opening. Plasma fire streaked past as their pilot executed a series of tight turns. The G-forces would have killed most non-human species, but the crew of the Defiant merely grunted and held on. Approaching drop point, Wright announced. Enemy vessels adjusting to intercept. Too late, Navarro said with satisfaction. Deploy special forces now. 4 dropships launched from the Defiant, racing toward the surface. Major Nikolai Vassiliev led 30 operatives, the best Earth had to offer. They hit the ground running, their heavy combat suits designed for Earth's gravity giving them extraordinary strength on this lighter world. Navarro watched from orbit as her team stormed the facility. Vassiliev's helmet cam showed Null Harvester soldiers falling back in surprise as humans moved with impossible speed and strength. Multiple enemy vessels converging on our position, Wright suddenly shouted. Navarro spun to see 7 Harvester warships closing in. They've identified us as a priority target. The first impact rocked the ship violently. Warning lights flashed across the bridge. Direct hit, shields failing on decks 3 through 7, Wright reported. Navarro gripped her chair. Get Vassiliev's team and those prisoners out now. The Defiant rolled to avoid another hit, but it was too late. A massive explosion tore through the lower decks. Engineering hit, fold drive critically damaged, Singh reported, fear edging into her voice. Navarro knew they couldn't escape. Emergency landing protocols, find us a landing zone on that planetoid. As the crippled ship descended toward a barren planetoid, Navarro sent one final message to the fleet. Defiant down, special forces still on mission. We'll hold out as long as we can. Then the ship plunged into the planetoid's thin atmosphere, trailing fire like a falling star. The Defiant lay half-buried in gray dust 3 days after the emergency landing. Captain Navarro stood at a shattered viewport, watching for enemy ships through tactical binoculars. Status report, she said without turning as footsteps approached. Not good, Joshua Kim replied grimly. Life support is stable, but weapons are at minimal capacity. No chance of getting off this rock without help. Navarro nodded, and our special forces. Major Vassiliev got all the Zephyrian prisoners out. His team suffered 6 casualties, but they completed the mission. Despite their dire situation, Navarro smiled. The Null Harvesters had never encountered humans before. They had no idea what Deathworlders were truly capable of when pushed to the edge. And they were about to find out.